the truth is that I would love to be way more higher than I'm at, but the truth is I'm at where I'm at. And that's okay. And yeah, I'm a coach in this work, so that means, yeah, I have been doing this work longer, and I'm supposed to be, or I'm at a level where I can help others move through, but I don't have to be all the way at the finish line. And that's where I jump to, is wanting to be all the way where like Rachel's at. I would love to be at that level, just of that level of unfuckwithable power. Like, I've just seen this woman, like, nothing phases her. It's so cool. And like, in the face of just every single emotion you could ever imagine that I've seen, her unshakable security with inside her own self and her ability to just come out in a powerful way, like, it's so honorable. But the truth is that I am moving the needle. I am doing the work to transform, to get better, and that's enough, Nate. Like, that's enough. Just keep doing it. The Way of Truth, day number 4. We are 17 days away from Lionsgate right now, as we are counting down, energetically becoming each way of oneness in order up to Lionsgate. And today we're working with the Way of Truth. Now, to be completely honest and truthful as the Way of Truth, today for me was a really rough day. I found out later down the line that something big in the Schumann was kicking off. It felt to me like my insides were bursting out. I could feel all this stress. I could feel all this like constriction inside myself. It felt like my whole body, my nervous system was wanting to like rip itself out from the inside. Really hard to explain. And the amount of fatigue and tiredness that I felt today was at an all-time high. It was at like a 10. And the truth is that I absolutely hate feeling that way. I absolutely hate it. And I can't be the way of fully of truth, of seeing like the truth of how I'm showing up, because I'm not fully surrendered to it. And this is something that Rachel mentions in the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness in the chapter The Way of Truth, where basically she says that if you're offering, I'm going to read from page 65, if you are offering even a tiny crumb of resistance, you are not surrendered. And if you don't have the ability to fully surrender, then you won't have the ability to see the universal truth in the situation. And that was me. Today, I was running so many programs of, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm feeling. I was beating myself up. I was relating it all to the fact that I hadn't had caffeine, which could have had an effect. And I just felt so drained today. It was like I must have had like at least 3 naps. Like, I had to lay down for short periods of time to just rest, because my body was screaming at me. And an older version of me would have beat myself up even more. And the truth was, I couldn't get to this place of seeing the truth of like, no, the Schumann's going through a crazy spike, because I wasn't surrendered to feeling what I was feeling. And I was resisting it. So I wasn't the way of surrender. And where I got to today, I actually allowed myself to be fully fatigued and fully tired. And to the best of my ability, I opened up my schedule. I didn't try and force myself to do too much work, even though I had particular goals and things that I wanted to get done for my editing that I do for videos and MSU. And I gave myself a little bit more leeway and allowed myself a little bit more grace, because the more and more I sat with what I was feeling, I was realizing the truth is that I was feeling something very unpleasant and kind of a little bit abnormal for my normal kind of like daily life. And what I needed to do was love and nurture myself through what it is that I'm feeling. So I did that, and I've been doing it all day to the best of my ability. Now, thankfully, we had a class today with Rachel, and she was guiding us to activate this beautiful column. She was guiding us to activate this beautiful column of purity, which really helped clear out a lot of these energies. Really helped, but yeah, I was really struggling today, and that's the truth. And it's hard. I found the more I went through this phase of like the more and more that I've kind of, I don't want to say grown, but done this work for a longer period of time as a coach, there's this part of me that is afraid to show vulnerability because I feel like I'm supposed to be further along, right? I create these expectations in my mind because I'm a coach, right? Which in reality, like, none of that means anything, right? Why should I not share the things that I'm struggling with or be vulnerable because I want to present myself as some perfect, coach? So ridiculous. But they're the programs that runs that I'm afraid to admit. It's almost like I'm even afraid to admit the truth to myself. Like, I don't want to actually admit that I'm having a really bad day and I'm struggling. And I mean, I'm at a place now where I did, and, I was telling my partner Ellie, like, "God, I'm having a rough one." And that's okay. And, not every day needs to be perfect. There are going to be days that you get smacked by the energies and wiped out. There are going to be days, there are going to be challenges that we still hit. I think a lot of arriving at the way of truth, I found within me, is realizing it's okay for me to be vulnerable and share the truth. It's okay for me to be this realm of personal development and spirituality and all this kind of stuff, especially when you're a coach. There is an expectation that you should be good all of the time that I have created. And I think this comes a little bit from like the spiritual matrix of like thinking that enlightenment is this suddenly nothing affects you and you're all good and positive vibes. And that lacks so much real humanness. Like, the reality is, yeah, as you become more elevated, as you tap into the power that you are, you're able to bring that into your life, but it doesn't mean you're constantly just going to be feeling great all the time. I've actually learned that it's the opposite. I've actually learned that the higher up you go, you're more willing to descend into the darkness that lives within you and on this planet. You're more willing to look at it. And because you're willing to look at it, that's what actually allows you to grow and awaken more and more and more. So it's actually ironic, it's kind of backwards. You think that becoming more enlightened means you're only going to feel good. That if you believed that, if that's like what you got fed from like like this idea of monks, that you just sit there and go om and you're peaceful and you're a guru and everything is always good, that is brainwashing and conditioning and a trap. And it's a trap that I've totally fallen into, thought that that's what I'm supposed to be. And this programming still kind of lives within me and is kind of playing out. In these particular scenarios, when I do have rough days, there's still this part of me that's like, oh, I'm not supposed to be doing that. Or like when it comes to sharing online, there's still parts of me that are like, oh, don't be vulnerable. You've got to present yourself a certain way. And fuck all that. Like, the more real that we can be with each other and just be truthful, and know when it's appropriate, it doesn't mean that every single person I meet, I'm going to divulge all my deepest, darkest secrets. That's not what the way of truth is, right? There is a time and a place, but part of being a real human is just knowing that you're going to have bad days, knowing that there are going to be days that you're going to struggle, especially with what's happening on the planet right now, with Earth's particular ascension process and everything that she's upgrading and moving through that we then all feel. I've noticed that the hardest days that I've had this year, and there's been quite a few of them, they're all on days that either we get like double blasted with solar flares or it's huge spikes in the Schumann resonance. Now, for whatever reason, whatever kind of empath I am, I don't fully understand all that stuff. whenever this big blast in the Schumann, me personally, I get so drained and so wiped. I don't know if it's I'm feeling everyone else or what. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel literally like destroyed. It feels to me, and this is what I felt today, like every ounce of my life force energy is just being sucked out of me. And so I really have to do the work to ground that energy whenever I feel it, and do the work to elevate out of what it is that I'm experiencing. And that doesn't mean, and here's one of the traps, here's another big trap. Elevating out of your programs, your wounds, suffering, doesn't mean not feeling it. It doesn't mean I'm just going to escape it. You can't truly become what these ways of oneness are by trying to escape your own human existence and your own feelings. And again, this goes back to a lot of spirituality that I've explored and seen out there and dipped my toe into and drank the Kool-Aid, is all about just trying to feel good. And what I've learned is the more that I stop focusing on trying to feel good, and the more that I just focus on trying to become the ways, the more ease and flow, and actually the better I feel in my life. It's funny, it's a paradox. It's like when you stop trying to feel good, that's when you actually start to feel good, because you're not resisting what's there. And this is what I did today. I stopped resisting what's there. I really worked with the way of surrender. I stopped. The way of truth for me today, the way of truth was, I can't show up the way that I want to show up, because there's stuff here that I need to alchemize. There is energies here that I need to learn to nurture and be with, and they're so large and loud and intense and like in my face, in my body, screaming at me, that I can't ignore them, and I don't want to ignore them. And I really got to learn today how to show up for myself, to myself, in a more loving, more expansive, more graceful way. I was patient. I was surrendering as much as I could, and I was just learning to honor what was here. And it's funny because, you know, I'm saying all of this even though I'm supposed to be talking about the way of truth. I'm talking about the way of honoring and surrender, but this is something that I've learned with these ways. All of the ways are in all of the ways. Right? Whoa, what does that mean? Right? The way of truth has an aspect, is first, this is how they work. This is how Rachel teaches it, right? There's 20 of them, so they're in this order, sequential order. Doesn't mean you have to follow them rigidly, but the way of truth is the fourth way, meaning it's a combination of responsibility, patience, and surrender. And then that opens the door to arrive at what the way of truth actually is. But then within truth, there is also small amounts of all the other ways, like the way of honoring. Like, they're all, these different ways are all in each other in like different varying degrees in some slight way, because they're all stemming from oneness consciousness. So in essence, they're all coming from the same thing, because they're all the vibration of oneness. They're just different, like they're different aspects of it, and those different aspects can be seen in like a sequential order, and they each have their own, in like, responsibility and truth are not the same thing, clearly, right? The way of responsibility and the way of truth, they're very different things, but in truth there is responsibility, and in responsibility there is truth. Such a cool paradox, such a fun thing to contemplate and sit with inside yourself, especially when you start to feel, this is where it gets really interesting, is when you start to feel the frequencies themselves, because that's what this is all about. That's what MSU is all about, is learning to have the direct felt experience. Yes, there's textbooks and there's books to read and there's learning to do, and we have workbooks and all that kind of fun stuff. Like, I've got the Cult of Patriarchy workbook here, which is awesome. It's like 120 odd pages. Awesome, awesome thing, right? But at the end of the day, this is just a book. And the true education doesn't happen in your mind. True education happens by our consciousness and elevating and our direct felt experience. Now we're starting to tap into the way of wisdom, which is like, I think it's what, number 19? Don't know. Can't remember. Somewhere in there. Probably. Yeah, I think it's 19. Wisdom, that's what we should be learning to attain, which is that have I actually become this? Have I had the felt experience? Right? I can sit here and talk about truth all I want, but what does it feel like to be in truth? And Rachel always teaches, not my truth, right? You feel the energy of my truth. Oh, I'm just speaking my truth. Well, this is my truth. That stems from our ego and our shadow self. The truth. Now feel the difference of that. No, this is the truth. The truth is, my truth is, feel the difference. So interesting. Once you awaken to that and you have the experience of feeling the difference within inside your own self and realizing, yeah, I'm saying my truth because I just want to validate my own experience instead of validating my own experience and realizing the truth. Different things. So becoming the way of truth requires radical honesty, requires us to be honest with ourselves. And one of the things that I've been really working on recently, and this comes back to what I was sharing earlier, is the radical honesty of accepting where I'm at. Right, and now this is jumping back to the way of patience, right? Is seeing where we're at and being patient with ourselves. It's funny, it's they all kind of merge together in some ways. So like the way of truth is, I am not where Rachel is at. I'm not even freaking close. I hope to be one day. And the beautiful thing is she is teaching us all how to become these things. It isn't like, some teacher who's high up on the pedestal that's completely unattainable. It's no, she's teaching us how to become what she's already become. That's a true teacher right there. Is, listen, I've achieved what I've achieved what you can achieve. You just have to learn how to do it. I'm just in a higher grade, right? To be able to get to that higher grade, to be able to get where she's at with her level of psychic abilities and her ability to read programming and her ability to maintain high frequency and channel source consciousness, and to be able to be at that level, I have to get to that level for me, I have to accept where I'm at today. I have to be okay with where I'm at and not try and where I tend to jump to is I try and mimic and I try and become superior, because this is what I just learned to do as a kid growing up. That like when I feel insecure and inferior about myself, I try and jump to superiority because it feels better than actually just being honest and truthful with myself at where I'm at. I don't want to look at that. There's actually I want to read a line about this because there's a cool line here. Cowards lie because they are too weak to handle the truth of the situation and face the fact that they were the ones who created it to begin with. Cool. Sit with that, right? Wow. Cowards. I'm going to read that first line again. Cowards lie because they are too weak to handle the truth of the situation. And this is where you can feel there's so much power in just being able to handle the truth. The truth is that I would love to be way more higher than I'm at, but the truth is I'm at where I'm at. And that's okay. And yeah, I'm a coach in this work, so that means I have been doing this work longer, and I'm I'm supposed to be, or I'm at a level where I can help others move through, but I don't have to be all the way at the finish line. And that's where I jump to, is wanting to be all the way where like Rachel's at. I would love to be at that level, just of that level of unfuckwithable power. Like, I've just seen this woman, like, nothing phases her. It's so cool. And like, in the face of just every single emotion you could ever imagine that I've seen, her unshakable security within inside her own self and her ability to just come out in a powerful way, like, it's so honorable. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And the truth is, I want to get there. I want to become what she's teaching. I don't want to become her. Like, I want to become me. But I want to become the level of power that she has gained. I want to become the level of mastery that she has. But the truth is, I'm not there yet. And the truth is also, I'm willing to do the work and I'm on the right path. And the more that I can anchor into that, wow, opens the door. There's obviously humility in that as well. One of the other, like, I think that's like 50, Way of Oneness number 15 or something like that. Higher Way of Oneness. When I can be humble enough to see the truth in my own self and be like, yeah, I'm not this high, mystical being yet. I'm a coach, I'm a student, and I'm willing to learn. I'm so willing to learn. And when I anchor into the truth of where I'm at, that opens the door to pull down all of those masks, those stupid masks that we wear. Every time that I want to jump to superiority, I can pull down that mask and I can just look at and see myself for the beauty of where I'm at. It is not something that I learned to do in childhood. It's not something that one of my parents just took a moment and said, listen, you did great today, and I want you to just take a moment to just pause and drop into your heart and feel your divinity and see just the effort that you put in and the effort that you put in on a daily basis. See yourself in your own divinity of where you're at. You might not be the best in class. That's okay. Look at where you're at. Look at how much you tried. I heard Rachel say one time that only failure is not trying. Look at you trying, Danny. Look at how much you're willing to do and try. Not just once, not just twice, on a daily basis, on a yearly basis. I did not get that guidance. And this is something that I've been doing myself. Is like, I need to, and this is like tapping into the way of honoring. And it's also here showing up in the way of truth, right? I need to be able to see the truth of the way that I'm actually showing up. I feel this emotion there because it's something that I don't do enough. I beat myself down and I hold myself to a high standard. And I do this work on a daily basis. And yet I still hold back from seeing my own self, my divinity. So part of the way of truth for me is being able to honor. I still show up selfish. I still show up narcissistic at times. I still see myself showing up in unconscious ways. But the truth is that I am moving the needle. I am doing the work to transform, to get better. And that's enough, Nate. Like, that's enough. Just keep doing it, So, there are my reflections on the way of truth. Thank you so much for staying this long if you listen to that whole thing. And, let me share and express myself and be vulnerable. So, tomorrow it'll be the way of presence. I love this way of oneness. And I look forward to sharing and expressing and talking with you about the way of presence tomorrow. But if you are listening to this, if this is your first time, we're doing this 20-day challenge up to Lionsgate. Please come and get involved. Jump on our community Discord, where we're going to be sharing about our challenges, our experiences of becoming each way of oneness as we get closer and closer to 8/8 Lionsgate Portal, where we're holding a free activation led by Rachel, myself, and Ellie. And we're doing a free activation on Lionsgate 8/8. So I'll see you either tomorrow, the next day, or maybe even on 8-8. Thank you so much for listening.